We are live here in Houston at the NRG Stadium, Verizon West Club, above the field here at NRG Stadium. Glad you can join us here on WPRL and WPRL.org. Judgment Day tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Alcorn and Grambling. Second year in a row, these two teams playing for the championship. A lot to talk about, SWAC and otherwise, with SWAC Commissioner Duer Sharp. It's always a pleasure to get together with the commissioner at these championships, whether it's softball, which we did for the first time this past season, baseball, basketball, tennis. Well,
football, tennis.
We don't do tennis, but it's always good to talk to the commissioner.
Oh, you're not there. No.
Okay. So, Commissioner, we appreciate it as always.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. I appreciate it, Charles.
Always good to get some time from you. Always a lot to talk about. I want to start with last night. I had a chance to be a part of the SWAC Hall of Fame banquet. My buddy Emmanuel Barnes, who's been doing games with me for 25 years now, does the PA for the home games, football and basketball, does the road games with me on radio. One of my first mentors that I met at Alcorn a long time ago when I got to Alcorn. Someone told me, when I got to the university, you need to go talk to a guy named Emmanuel Barnes. He'll hook you up with whatever you need at Alcorn. And I met him, and the rest is history. So let's talk about the SWAC inductee class. Sidney James, who I remember calling games in the conference, Emmanuel Barnes.
Sure.
A lot of Mississippi roots, a lot of Alcorn roots in the class.
Yeah. You know what? That was probably the best Hall of Fame since I've been here, just from the event itself. Spencer Tillman. You had Marcus Dupree in the crowd. And then you really had a great class that kind of set the tone for the evening. But I thought everybody had a great time, to see Coach Shirley Walker there, and it was just good. And man, the band was excellent. I was like, this is by far the best Hall of Fame I can remember. And I thought Jasmine Quinn on my staff did a great job. Patricia Pickett, Des Pickett, they do a great job with helping us with that event. Edgar Gant. But I just thought, man, this is a great class of individuals going into the SWAC Hall of Fame. So it was really exciting.
I like, as I was walking out the door, the oil paintings of the individuals.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's the first time you've had, because this was my first banquet, but I thought that was really
that's something we always do.
Really?
We always do that.
Wow,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing, man. To go into the SWAC Hall of Fame, that's not a small feat.
Yeah.
So we really want to treat them, give them a first-class treatment. They'll, they receive gifts from SWAC, and they'll be, acknowledged tomorrow during the halftime of the game. So we just thought, hey, when you've done great things and you can get into the SWAC Hall of Fame, you should be treated with a certain, in a certain way, and that's just in a first-class way. So we were happy for them, and definitely happy for their families and their friends and the supporters. And Mr. Barnes is very fond of you, and that he said during his speech. So it was good.
I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, Mr. Commissioner. And hey, this is Judgment Day in the SWAC Football Championship. I think that phrase should have a patent behind it when it comes to the Judgment Day. In the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Those seem to fit hand in glove.
You know what? It's been really good, and just from a competitive standpoint, you could throw the records out. It doesn't matter, really. Yeah, I mean, you can see that the teams are really hungry and they want to win, and you can see it during practice, honestly, because I'm down on the field while they're practicing, and you can just see the attention to detail. And those are the little things that people, your average person wouldn't know, that they pay a lot of attention to detail, because in winning and losing, it's in the details. It's in that game plan. So, Coach McNair and his staff and his team have done a great job, along with Grambling and Coach Fobbs. So we're looking for a highly competitive game tomorrow and an exciting crowd. Tickets are selling really well. I was shocked. I was like, man, but I just got the ticket count, and it's pretty good. For
50.
No, man, come on.
I mean, I thought 50.
It's not that good. I mean, but, when you can, but we'll probably have a pretty good walk-up depending on when that rain is supposed to hit tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that's the one great thing about being in the dome. It doesn't matter what it's doing outside.
Yeah.
In here, it's going to be dry and 72, and we're going to have a good time.
I know we've had 40 plus. Is it unrealistic to I mean, we can always talk about 50, and I thought because of the storylines between these two teams, you have Coach McNair being hired 3 days before signing day and hiring a staff, and then Grambling back-to-back seasons, and the job that Coach Fobbs has done.
Sure.
I thought, with this being a rematch, I thought the walk-up would be even better, and I was thinking 50 for sure.
I think the walk-up, again, it's going to depend on when that rain hits and
Yeah.
if it hits. But right now it's 100% rain, 100% chance of rain. So if we can get to 4 o'clock before that rain, before the sky opens up, I think we'll be okay, you know.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a really good crowd, though, definitely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, every time I drive into the parking lot, there's a line of people buying tickets to the
Yeah.
game, so that's always a good thing to see.
I saw a number of billboards around the city. I'm
Yeah.
staying like 5 blocks from here, but
Mhm.
Southwest part of town, where it's a nice little eating place where I like to go to. I saw the billboard
Yeah.
for the SWAC Championship game, so a lot of promo here in the city.
Yeah, we hired a new marketing firm, Strike Marketing, and they're based here in Houston, and they've done a great job. Everybody I've talked to, hey, man, we heard everything from November. You know, where in the past we wouldn't hear it until maybe about 2 weeks before the game. But now to hear it starting the 1st of November, people really, you know, it clicks when you hear SWAC Football Championship, and people know about it, and the city of Houston is really embracing it. Like I said earlier, Mayor Turner and his staff have really said, hey, you know, we're going to help you grow both the football championship and the basketball tournament.
Well, a lot to talk about as far as the football in the postseason. Of course, this is the postseason. The winner of this game will play in Atlanta against North Carolina Central in a couple of weeks. And of course, you talk about the postseason. You and I talk about this often. On the MEAC side, that other side, you have a team in Central that's going to the celebration. You had North Carolina A&T go to the playoffs. And it raises the obvious question, can the SWAC mirror what the MEAC has done?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Prairie View was right there. But you have to understand, and you know this because you're a lifetime SWAC person, you know, Grambling and Southern eliminate themselves from when the Bayou was played. So I would have been shocked if Southern and Prairie View both wouldn't have got a serious look. But so Southern's eliminated because of the date of Bayou. So now you're looking at Prairie View. The only issue with Prairie View was that they lost to Grambling and Southern.
Yeah.
So you had to, either you were going to split, and if you beat both of them, they'd be in the game, but they'd be in the SWAC Football Championship game. But you were going to have to split one of those.
Yeah.
And that was the key. I mean, Prairie View was right there. We talked with the, you know, we had every conference has a member of the committee is that their conference rep, and we talked with the conference rep, the committee rep, and it was just came down to Prairie View was going to have to win one of those games. Unfortunately, they failed to do that, and I think that was one of the reasons why they didn't get in.
So if they had beat either Southern or Grambling, they'd be in the postseason.
I think if they would have beat Southern and Grambling and possibly beat Rice, because if you look at everybody who made the playoff, they all beat an upper FBS school. You know, so you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to step up in class, and you're going to have to beat that school that you play. Oh. And I think, you know, talking with Ashley Robinson, the athletic director at Prairie View, and President Wright, I think they understand that. I think they understand where it kind of, we had to do this. If we would have done A, B, and C, we would have gotten in. And Prairie View's right there. I mean, they're right there, along with a number of, you know, teams in our conference. They're right there. So I like to see the parity. I like to see, you know, teams that go out and compete. And I just happened to be at the Prairie View Southern game, highly competitive game. But Southern's a very good football team, and so is Prairie View. And on that day, Southern just happened to be the better football team. But they were going to have to split, you know, and they just didn't do that.
So you talk about the Bayou Classic, and we're talking with SWAC Commissioner Duer Sharp here in Houston at NRG Stadium. You also have the Turkey Day game.
Sure.
Does that impact the SWAC seating at the table as well?
Exactly. So you eliminate Alabama State also.
Yeah.
Those three, we have 3 of our 10 schools are eliminated from the playoff just based on date when they play. So Alabama State is eliminated because of Turkey Day. Grambling and Southern are eliminated because of Bayou. You know, so it just so happens that Grambling and Southern are 2 of our better teams this year, along with Prairie View. So Prairie View was the really only option that we had. So when you look at it, again, the fact that they lost to both Southern and Grambling, that pretty much eliminated them. And that was what we got back from the committee.
So is it a crazy question to ask, does the SWAC even get involved in nudging those presidents at Southern, Grambling, and Bama State to say, you know what about moving those games and opening up the window? Is that even an unrealistic expectation?
I'm going to let you answer that question because you've been here longer than me. So I like being SWAC commissioner. So if I kind of put that out there, I'm quite sure I won't be SWAC commissioner
Okay,
anymore.
so heck no is the obvious answer. We're talking with SWAC Commissioner Duer Sharp, but you talked about the competitiveness of SWAC football. You know, the Braves getting back here 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Considering what they went through this year with all the injuries
Yeah.
and all the stuff they had to deal with that, and then Grambling coming back here again and doing what they did. It's hard. Winning is hard.
My goodness.
Winning in this division, especially on the West, was hard.
Oh, yeah. And you know, 3 or 4 years ago, it was the exact opposite. The East was so difficult to come out of, you know.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at the West, I mean, Prairie View, Grambling, Southern, Pine Bluff, you know, they came in there and beat Alcorn on Thursday night. You know, Alcorn had a lot of injuries that game, but you have to show up to play. Every time you're up, you're going to have to be up. You're going to have to show up and be ready to play, or you will get beat.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that it shows a lot from not only these student athletes, but from these coaches and these coaching staffs that really, again, attention to detail and preparation and game planning. Those are the things that people don't see. People see the product on Saturday, you know, when they come out to the stadium, but they don't see the practice and they don't see the film work and the study, and that's what you want. You know, people have to really take notice. But no, I've been very pleased with the parity, and I've been very pleased with the way the kids go out and they compete. The student athletes go out and compete, and the way these coaches prepare them.
You know, when you look at what's happening here with that division, with the Eastern Division,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the Braves winning it with the record that they wanted, folks on social media saying, you know, you had a potentially, and we were 5-4 as it turned out, but we had won the division the week before. If we didn't beat Jackson State, we would have been 4-5. And all of a sudden, folks are saying, "Oh man, you got a 4-5 team representing the East, playing for a championship." And then if Southern had, you know, been in this game, you don't win that game, then, you know, the records going into the final game, the Celebration Bowl. A lot of folks talk about that, but what in the heck can you do about that?
Nothing. I mean, we did the best we could. I thought the ADs and SWAs did a great job with going to 7 games. So now there's an opportunity where those teams may have not played each other. You know, right now it's always a rematch because everybody plays everybody.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, when you go to that 7, just imagine, you know, somebody being, you know, 8-1, both teams being 8-1, and they haven't played each other.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the excitement is. You know, when you see those other leagues, when you see Big Ten, like Wisconsin, Penn State play tomorrow, they haven't played each other.
Yeah.
You know, but they're both 10-2.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at that, we have that capability. We have that potential to have 2 highly ranked teams who haven't played each other all year. And that's where you get to 50,000. That's where you get 55,000, 60,000, when people haven't played and you don't know who's going to win that game.
Well, absolutely. And then you talked about the 7 games next season,
Mm-hmm.
and already people are talking about it. Who are the 3 on the other side? Alcorn's 3,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Prairie View, that's Grambling and Southern, in addition to the 4 on your side.
Exactly.
And people are confused, at least at this point. And I said this. I told my buddy Carlos Brown this, and I'm serious. I think folks like us,
Mm-hmm.
people who cover the SWAC on a daily basis,
Sure.
we can either contribute to the 7 games understanding going forward, or we can, if we don't educate folks, we can contribute to its confusion.
Well,
because right now people are kind of confused as to which game count. We play
Sure.
Texas Southern next year. It doesn't count in the 7.
Right.
But, you know, so all of that is still stirring around here, and we got a year away before we implement it.
Well, see, I think that will help with that. The conference office will help with that. But I think that was my concern when you start confusing people. When people go, why would we play Texas Southern? Does the Texas Southern game count?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we'll make it easy for everybody to understand. And you know, Edgar Gant and, you know, Wes Crockett and my staff, they'll do a great job of just, you know, kind of formatting that schedule to make it easy to read for the SWAC fans, so they know the games that do count on the conference schedule and those that don't.
Then some teams are having trouble filling a schedule, and I know that. Does the SWAC get involved with scheduling if some conference teams are having trouble filling those 3 or 4 games that they need to fill out their schedule? Does the SWAC help with that?
If they call me, I will, you know, but most of the time I like to stay hands off. I really don't want to get involved with, you know, the opponents of our member institutions. But if they give me there's a great computer program called Gridiron now And I think all of our schools use it. And if you click on a certain date, it'll show you everybody in the country who has open dates. So it makes scheduling a lot easier. But Gridiron has been very good. But I tend not to. But if a school calls me and says, hey, we're open on September or whatever, I'll see what I can do. I'll make a couple phone calls and see if I can get them an opponent.
A couple of things that have worked to Alcorn's advantage. We're playing Southern next year back at our place and for the second year in a row.
Sure.
And I believe Southern's going to Jackson State next year, second year in a row there. So that's caused some questions. How could that be when, if you're picking this up on a 7-game situation, should it be just the opposite? Is that a computer-generated thing, or that's something that's...
Sure, the schedule is computer-generated, but when you change the format, you also change the parameters of the scheduling. So there may be some, how can I say, there may be some games where a team might have to go back to a school they just played.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you change the format. Because in SWAC, you can't play so many games in a row on the road and so many games at home consecutively. So that's a part of the parameters. You can't go to Texas twice in 1 year. You can't go to Alabama twice in 1 year.
Wow, okay.
So you can't be at Alabama State and at Alabama A&M. Those are the parameters that a lot of people don't know about. So you can't be at Southern and be at Grambling. You have to. One's going to have to travel to you. And those are just the parameters. So it may happen where you may have to go right back to Grambling, but you won't have to go right back to Grambling and Southern.
Wow, so that's a new one there, Mr. Commissioner. I didn't know that.
There are parameters to every, because it's budgetary. It takes a lot for a Prairie View to have to go to Alabama A&M and then 2 weeks later go to Alabama State. That's a lot on a budget. So we make it, the computer and our parameters that we put into the program says that, hey, if you're at Alabama State, Alabama A&M is going to have to come to you.
Wow. So to change, to fit in the parameters, Southern going to Jackson State 2 years in a row, and then Southern coming to all, I guess those are those parameters.
That's just a part of the computer generation and also the format change. That's the biggest part. And then you have to look at it. I can't be at Southern, at Alabama A&M, at Alcorn, at Mississippi Valley consecutively.
Yeah.
You can't do it. The parameter says you cannot play more than 3 games on the road or 3 games at home.
In a row.
In a row, exactly. So if I'm at A&M, at Alcorn, then I'm going to have to go to Jackson, because I can't play more than a certain number of games at home or away. So we have a number of parameters that you have to abide by and that you have to take account for. So that's the reason why a team may go right back to Alcorn 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Format change and parameters.
Well, I tell you what, it does make it exciting, and the margin of error, I think, for next year, 7 games compared to 9.
Sure.
That makes it interesting.
Well, it gives schools flexibility. You can go out and play somebody, if you want to go and generate some revenue, or if you want to really start to build those interstate rivalries. I hear a lot from Prairie View going, hey, man, we're just going to play Sam Houston, because it's right down the road and they're a really good team and it keeps us in state and it's a short trip.
Yeah.
But, that's their ideology. They want to go, hey, we want to build those rivalries in Texas, where there's some schools who say, I want to go play Cincinnati, or I want to go play Florida, or whatever the case may be. So it just depends on whatever that philosophy is of that athletic director and that football coach.
And we're seeing schedules and matchups being announced 2 or 3 years ahead of time.
Yeah,
Next year we're going to Florida National.
Yeah.
This year we went to Arkansas.
Exactly.
So you see those matchups, and even playing more FCS. My buddy Carlos Brown talks about playing FCS. You got schools right down the road like Sam Houston, like Stephen F. Austin, McNeese, that you can play. Doesn't cost you a whole lot. They'll give you a little guarantee, so it does make a lot of sense.
It does, and I think, again, the athletic directors and the senior women administrators said, hey, we're kind of handcuffing ourselves here by playing 9. So let's go to 7 and free up some dates.
Yeah.
And then thanks to Gridiron, now you already know 4 years in advance what open dates you have. So all you have to do is punch in those dates, and it'll give you everybody in the country who has an open date, and then allow you to schedule them.
Duer Sharp joining us, Mr. Commissioner. We really appreciate it. I'm looking for a lot of knowledge, some stuff that I didn't know. That's why I like to talk to you. Always dropping some knowledge on us.
Yeah. So you always get all the SWAC secrets all the time.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Here we go. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate. It looks like the weather's not going to be in our favor for fans in terms of getting here, but we hope that folks get here safely, because that's always key.
Hey, man, that looks great out there. As long as you got that little sunlight, and it's not raining yet, and the Texans got their practice in early so they can get on the road to go to Green Bay. But we want everybody to come on down. Judgment Day, Saturday, December 3rd here in NRG Stadium. It's going to be a great game.
You did say the roof will always be closed.
As long as I'm the commissioner, the roof will always be closed, because I like air conditioning. So it'll always be closed.
All right, Mr. Commissioner, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Commissioner Duer joining us. We'll take a 2-minute time out here, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the live coverage of the 2016 SWAC Championship Game press conference on WPRL and WPRL.org.